Normal is glucose hexagonal. Next to it is fructose, which is pentagonal. So one molecule of glucose and one molecule of fructose, when they combine at a beta and alpha link, you get a sucrose. Sucrose is nothing but a common table sugar we use every day. So fructose and glucose makes it sucrose. So now sucrose, if you see, is a glucose plus fructose. So what is high fructose corn syrup? What is fructose toxicity? Two molecules of glucose and fructose together but not combined. They are loose. So fructose is loose and fructose is easily available in high fructose corn syrup. So what is high fructose corn syrup? High fructose corn syrup is a liquid sweetener which is alternative to the table sugar. Now why do you need this? I will tell you. The normal sugar is mainly granular form, difficult to transport. It has to be dissolved in water before it can be used in the various products. And when you mix with the acid, it changes the color, changes the taste, and changes the taste of the food. This is the one part of it. Second part, the normal sugar is made from the sugar cane or a beet sugar. And this is mainly in the equatorial country. And all this equatorial country has a climate problem and a political problem. So both this makes sucrose very expensive. The sugar becomes very expensive. Now what is high fructose corn syrup? High fructose corn syrup is made from the corn, which is a magic crop. This corn syrup is readily available, very cheap, easy to transport, colorless liquid, no odor, no smell, easily mixes with any food, and any food you mix, it does not change the color and taste of the food. So the high fructose corn syrup became very important for the food industry to use it everywhere. Now, how is the high fructose corn syrup produced? High fructose corn syrup, if you travel, all of those who have gone to America, from east to west you go to America, the midwest of the America, thousands and thousands and thousands of acres, you see corn. And you wonder, who's eating this corn? We don't eat corn in India. All this corn is used by the food industry. They're using it for the high fructose corn syrup. So they take this corn, they mix with the chemicals like caustic soda and hydrochloric acid. To that they use alpha amylase and glucoamylase. And after this, when they do this, you get a liquid which is white colorless liquid, which is full of glucose. So it's only glucose. So now they add into that isomerase of glucose to produce high fructose corn syrup. So when this high fructose corn syrup is made, it is 90% fructose and 10% glucose, but not bound together. So now, normally produced high fructose corn syrup is 90%, which is very, very sweet, cannot be used. So they add sugar to it. They make it 55% and 42%. So when they use sugar to that, now when it is used, 55% high fructose corn syrup is used in all the beverages, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, all the sodas, all the juices, everything, Tetra Packs, everywhere. And 42 high fructose, 42 corn syrup, anything and everything you eat in a packaged food. So that is canned fruits, all the sauces, soups, condiments, bakery items, yogurt, eggnogs, flavored milk, ice cream, frozen desserts. That is everywhere there is a high fructose corn syrup. Now, high fructose corn syrup, 10 top items in America having high fructose corn syrup, which is yogurts, all the flavored yogurts, breads, pizzas, cereal bars, cocktail peanuts, mac and cheese, salad dressings, apple sauce, all everywhere. And high fructose corn syrup has directly been linked to obesity, diabetes, and metabolic syndrome. Now you see, you have never seen before. Burger King, high fructose corn syrup. McDonald's, high fructose corn syrup. Coca-Cola, Pepsi bottles, high fructose corn syrup. Now how much is the sugar in this one can of Coca-Cola 300 ml? There are 65 grams of sugar. 65 grams of sugar in one can, and the caloric intake, if you see, is 240. So if you have 2 cans of Pepsi or Coca-Cola, along with your meal, you're getting 500 calories without anything. and that is only high fructose corn syrup. Now you see UK and USA version of Mountain Dew. USA version of Mountain Dew has got a high fructose corn syrup, but UK is very strict, so that is replaced by sugar. So you see the change in color. Change in color and change in taste. People don't use it. Next, where is the cheating comes? If you have seen the advertisement on the TV, just yesterday I was seeing TV while making this lecture. Salman Khan was standing in a bar, one person walks in with his bottle of drink, black color drink. Oh, this is not good, it's not giving me taste. So Salman Khan throws his drink to him, try this is new. So he drinks that, wow, this is amazing, so good. Salman Khan says, it is same as your Pepsi, more fizzy and better taste. So what do you mean by better taste and more fizzy? See here, when they say high fructose corn syrup in any beverages, it is 55%. But if you see first three, it is 65%. So they are cheating you. They are writing 55% on the bottle, but they are putting 65% for the better taste, and they are hiding everything. So it is 18% more high fructose corn syrup than what you can have. Now if you see all those granola bars and Nutella bars, you go to gym, you go exercise, you come out and take a bar. You think that you are taking a high protein bar. It's not high protein bar, it is a high sugar bar. It contains high fructose corn syrup. It contains very maximum sugar. If you see all those Doritos, corn syrup, maltodextrin, glucose syrup, even the Lay's vapors also, there is high fructose corn syrup. All morning, everybody like, I go to USA conference, American conference, people get up and take all those corns, I always take this. It's full of sugar, high fructose corn syrup. You can't take morning breakfast with this. So now what happens here? How they cheat you? They cheat you with the changing of the names. What the names they put? Evaporated cane sugar, fructose sweetener, fruit juices, crystal dextrose, anhydrous dextrose, and lower down maltodextrins, malto. They change the name of the sugar on the packet. So you don't understand that you are taking sugar. All this packet contains sugar, which is high fructose corn syrup. So what happens? The hidden fact is 74-75% of food items which you buy, the packaged food or all the packaged items you buy contains high fructose corn syrup. So you are inviting poison and a sugar. Up till now people believe that the fat is bad, the monosaturated fat is bad, Indian ghee is bad. The worst is sugar. Sugar is a more poisonous than fat. So what is the toxicity reality? 1900. American people were taking only 15 grams of sugar, that is fructose. Second World War, 1945, it became about 24 grams of sugar. By 1977, it became 37 grams, and today it is almost 80 to 120 grams of sugar per day, more than 25% sugar you get in. 1970 was a changing year for the entire food industry of the world. After Second World War, all the industries were booming. The food industry was not doing well because of the sugar and the change in taste of the food. So 1970, high fructose corn syrup came into practice. And if you see, 1970, the high fructose corn syrup was invented. And by 2000, 50% of all food products is high fructose corn syrup, which is poison. So now, high fructose corn syrup is a poison. It's a 50% or a 42%, 55% is a poison. Now how is a poison? You see the sugar sweetened beverages, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, everything. See 1965 to 2006, the children stopped taking milk and started taking all the beverages, and you see the obesity rate. And you will see even adults also started taking all these beverages and the obesity rate increased. Even in India, 2007, single year in India and China, Pepsi recorded, Coca-Cola recorded 14 and 18% increase in a sale in single year. For a consumer, all those who are in the marketing would know 14 to 18% is a huge profit in any company. So all the sugar sweetened beverages are problem. Now if you see this fructose toxicity, this is the Indian data 2013 to 2023. If you see 2014, there were about 22 to 28% obesity per 100,000 in India. By 2022, you will get more than 55 to 60% obesity and overweight in India. That means every alternate person is obese in India. You can understand. I went to China 25 years ago. Majority of the people were thin on our road. Children were running and they were thin. I went 5 years ago. Almost every alternate child and a human adult was obese. So the obesity comes from here. This. Now you will ask me question. You will think, if the sugar is not bad, why the fructose is bad? What about the sugar? What about the fructose? What about the fruits? What we take? What about the sugar? What we take? Simple, I will tell you. You eat Indian sweet. Take rasgulla or peda, gulab jamun, anything. You have one, you have two, you don't want to eat third one. But you go to McDonald's or Burger King, you have one burger, you have two Pepsi, you still want to eat one more burger. Why this happens? Americans are very smart. They were not idiots. They realized that you cannot sell your product. So how did they start selling their product? Put extra salt in a food and put extra sugar in a food. So extra salt, extra sugar, people will get addicted and start eating this. You understand? So now, you go to McDonald's, they charge you in America one burger $1.5. They give you chips free. They are not doing charity. They are not your relatives. They don't want to please you. They are not your father, uncle, brother, sister. Why they are giving you chips free? It's highly salted. So moment you eat that chips, you have to have a Coca-Cola or Pepsi. They charge $2.4 for that, $2.40 for that. They earn money from the fountain cola, not from the burger. Burger they are making break even. They are earning from the Coca-Cola they are selling. So now, to answer your question, why fructose is dangerous? Look at the glucose. Glucose when you eat, normal sugar, Indian sweets you eat, that gets converted to glycogen in liver. And the extra glucose gets converted to fatty acids. Fatty acids converted to compounded, that is triglycerides, which is produced triglyceride and migrated outside the liver. Extra glucose still gets converted to carbohydrate and water. And there is a negative feedback mechanism. So negative feedback mechanism, it inhibits further glucose metabolism and all glucose is converted to glycogen. So glucose when you eat, the Indian sweets when you eat, you don't want to eat more. One laddu you eat or one gulab jamun you eat, bas, abhi nahi. But you start eating cakes, pastries and ice creams, you don't stop. So why is that? The fructose. Fructose has no negative feedback mechanism. Fructose competitively blocks glucose. And fructose has only one pathway, fat production. So the moment you start taking beverages, Pepsi, colas, and McDonald's, and high fructose corn syrup, frontal obesity. Frontal obesity, the next is fatty liver, insulin resistance, diabetes, hyperuricemia, blood pressure, cardiovascular risk, thyroid plaques, thrombovascular risk. That is what you get in practice. So now, fructose and not the glucose that impairs the insulin signaling in the body. So fructose is more dangerous than the glucose. Glucose is still okay. So now if you see this one, metabolic syndrome. Metabolic syndrome you have, any person, even in this audience, any doctor, anyone who has frontal obesity, diabetes, dyslipidemia, there is a 50% chance that this person has a cirrhosis of liver, which is asymptomatic. If you do your fibro scan, you will see F1, F2 fibrosis, and fat you will see more than 300. So obesity, frontal obesity is the most important. The abdominal fat is a gray fat. It is not an ordinary fat. It is the highest, largest endocrine organ of the body. It produces TNF alpha, it produces leptin. And excessive production of leptin produces leptin resistance and obesity. People say that, doctor, I am tired, I am using so much of diet restriction, but I am not losing weight. That is because of the leptin resistance. The leptin is produced by the abdominal fat. So brain is confused to where the leptin is coming from. So that is why you get this. So now you see what happens. The insulin resistance you get it, and the peripheral glucose is not utilized. There is increased lipolysis, fatty acids, and increased hepatic glucose output. So you have a diabetes, obesity, dyslipidemia, insulin resistance, that is metabolic syndrome, chronic inflammatory state, fatty liver, adiponectin, normal liver regenerates. But if you have a leptin and leptin resistance, you get a cirrhosis of liver. You understand this? So now, Why all the diabetic companies are coming to India? Why all the insulin producing companies are giving so many talks? Because India is the capital of diabetes now. By 2030, we'll have almost 80 to 100 million diabetics in India, which is highest in the world. 2020, highest atherothrombotic cardiovascular events in India. 13% of Indian urbans are obese. Obesity, that means BMI more than 30. And 65 are overweight. And metabolic syndrome in urban parts of the India ranges from 12 to 41%. So now, long-term side effects of fructose, dyslipidemia, ectopic lipid deposition in the neck, coronary arteries everywhere, impaired glucose homeostasis, increased uric acid. So what happens? Fructose produces dyslipidemia. How dyslipidemia? Fructose is converted to triglycerides and fat. Then insulin resistance. So you get diabetes, you get atherosclerosis, and you get an increased caloric intake, obesity, truncal obesity, insulin resistance, and atherosclerotic disease. So fructose toxicity is what you eat. When you go to restaurant, when you order iced tea, that iced tea contains fructose corn syrup. When you order dessert, every dessert contains fructose corn syrup. Every ice cream, every gelato ice cream, every cakes, every pastry contains corn syrup. A single slice of bread, I tell you, normally how much sugar we are supposed to take? We are supposed to take only 9 spoons of sugar a day for the good living. A single slice of bread, I'm not talking about 1 pound, slice, contains 3 spoons of sugar. High fructose corn syrup. You never realize that. So fructose toxicity is a reality. Obesity and diabetes in India, if you see, 2005 to 2013, from 10% male and 25% female, it increased to 65% obesity and overweight in India, just in 10 years. And if you see another slide, from 2000, from 32 million to almost 70 million diabetics in India in 12 to 13 years. So where we are heading? Truncal obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, uricemia, fatty liver, sure short you know fructose toxicity and problem. So you get hyperuricemia. If you take more than 1 to 3 beverages per day, almost 50% you have hyperuricemia. Even a 1 beverage per day, there is a moderate chance you have hyperuricemia. So fructose-rich beverages intake and central obesity, uric acid, and a pediatric insulin resistance. Today we see all the children coming with obesity, acanthosis nigrans, axillary fold freckles. So that is it. So fructose toxicity is a reality, and all the beverages are very dangerous. And fructose toxicity is similar to alcohol toxicity. And it's no surprise that alcohol is produced from the fermented sugar. Correct? So alcohol injury is same about this. So long-term exposure of alcohol and fructose toxicity, sugar. You have hypertension, you have cardiac disease, you have dyslipidemia, you have pancreatitis, you have obesity, you have malnutrition, hepatic dysfunction, and addiction and habituation. So this is what alcohol and sugar is. So now high fructose corn syrup is 20 times more sweeter than sugar, and it is 8 times more addictive than cocaine and heroin. So if you are addicted to high fructose corn syrup, it's very bad. So high fructose corn syrup, it produces metabolic syndrome, dyslipidemia, truncal obesity, it produces hypertension, cardiovascular risk, carotid plaques, and you learn from the experience of the experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Dr. Tayyaba sir to explain Dr. Sunil.